Hello everybody. Well, we're off to go work on the 67 Mustang once again. You may remember from the last two episodes, whatever you want to call them, we did get the Mustang to successfully turn over. So it looks like our engine is moving freely. It's not all frozen like I was worried about initially, having set up for over 18 years. Actually, I think it's probably closer to 20 years now that I've thought about it. But anyway, so today we're going to go try and figure out why it wasn't getting spark. And I've got several parts that have arrived. So we got new plug wires. We put a new coil on last weekend, so I don't think it's the coil anymore. Also, I think the really problem was the points, as I had mentioned. And sadly, no one seems to know what those things are anymore. I went into Advanced Auto to see if they might have points for the Mustang, and yeah, they didn't. They didn't even know what they were. They'd never heard of points before. At least the folks that were working the counter that day didn't. So I thought that was kind of sad that people working mechanics or working at an auto parts store didn't even have any inkling what points were. So I ordered from CJ Pony Parts. By the way, no sponsor to this video or otherwise affiliated. They just happen to have the cheapest price that I could find online. It's either Pertronics or Petronics. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Electronic ignition conversion kit. So it actually goes in the distributor. So in the stock distributor, you've got a module that goes in there that replaces the points in the condenser, and then it's got a little magnetic, I don't know if a sensor's not really, but a little magnet that goes over the cam that's in the distributor, and you just gap it up right, run your wires accordingly, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're supposed to have ignition. It's supposed to be very easy to set up, so we'll find out if that's indeed the case. Also got new plug wires to install, a new thermostat to install, because I got to thinking that thermostat's probably frozen up, rusted out, so we'll take that out and replace it. And what else do we have? New hoses. Yep, new hoses for the radiator, even though it's leaking. A new gas tank to install, so hopefully we can get that in there with a new sending unit, because the the gas gauge, that's the words I was looking for, never read right, or at least not when I was driving it as a teenager back in the 80s and early 90s. It read full, and then it read like half a tank. It would suddenly jump to half, and then suddenly it would jump to empty when it was too late. And so that was always fun, especially when you were a poor teenager and never had a lot of money. So anyway, so we'll get that hopefully squared away today. Also ordered a bunch of brake parts. Not sure if they're going to get on there yet today, because we're really just trying to get the engine to fire and run. So anyway, there you go. That's it. We'll continue when we get to my parents' house and the Mustang. Okay, so we are here back at my parents' house with the Mustang. I had hoped to be using my good camera, but I apparently forgot to charge it. So we are going to start getting our parts arranged and going forward. So I thought I would show y'all the boxes, and here we go. Here you go. You can see some of the boxes. I don't have the gas tank box out here yet, but we got several parts from Rock Auto and from CJ Pony Parts. So I'm going to go ahead and open these boxes, and then I'll show you what we got to work with today in just a moment. Okay, so I've gone through, opened up all of the boxes and envelopes. So this is what we've got to work with today. So first is I'll bring it up here, our igniter. This is going to replace our points in our distributor and convert it to electronic ignition. So hopefully that'll take care of our spark problem. To kind of also go along with that, we have a new set of plug wires for the engine there. And then down here we have our new thermostat, and of course the gasket. Also got us a new fuel filter to put on there because we need those. And then of course too, you can see the other one down there, radiator hoses to get the coolant moving through the engine. That's probably what we'll do today. Went ahead because I know I'm going to need them. Got some brake parts as well. So we got wheel cylinders all the way around, front and rear. We got 2 sets of hardware. So apparently there's a dog barking somewhere and a plane flying overhead. But we got new springs and all that for the drum brakes. Eventually I'll put disc brakes on here, but not yet. And then these are new brake lines, the rubber brake lines that go up on the front where you steer, because I'm sure those are rotted out and need to be replaced too. So we want to make sure once we get it started we can also stop the car. So what I'm going to do first is probably go ahead and replace the points with the igniter system here and get the new plug wires put on and see if that fixes our problem. So we'll go ahead and get started on that here in just a second. Okay, so we're back up here under the car now and open up the distributor to start with and pull the cap on it. You can see the inside of that cap is actually pretty good. I'm not worried about it being a problem. Just gonna sit it back over there, get it out of the way. Stay. Here's our distributor in there. Kind of see down. This is the rotor that spins around. It's also looking like it's in pretty good shape. I'll probably give it a good cleaning just to make sure, but I don't think that's our problem. So down there, zoom in a little bit, you can see there's, so getting in here, let's see here, get my finger, that's the points right there. So what happens is this turns, and you can see it's got little lobes and flat spots. What that does is get in here and cause the points down here to open and close. And so right in there you can see those 2 contact points. That is what causes spark. When they make contact, we get a spark that goes to the individual spark plugs based on the rotation here. And here's the condenser. All of that works together to make that happen. See, the points look a little bit on the worn side there. So this and this is what we're going to be replacing with that electronic ignition kit. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that now. So after a few more minutes than I expected it to take, because I'm rusty as a shade tree mechanic, we've got the new electronic ignition put into the distributor. Here are the points that we took out, and they are definitely worn and corroded, so I'm not surprised that they weren't working at all. So if you've never seen a set of points, there you go. That's what a set of points. What happens is that lobe in the middle there is a cam that rubs on this spacer here, and it causes that to open and close as that cam goes around. And then when those 2 points make contact, it sends the charge to the appropriate spark plug, firing the cylinder. But anyway, it's gone, it's out. So my next part is I've got to run these wires here over to the coil that you can see down there in the appropriate post. So I'm going to get started on that part next, and then hopefully I'll switch up the plug wires and we'll have spark. Okay, so now I've got the wires run back to the coil and connected. So hopefully that should all go correctly. And again, that's a new coil, so we should be good as far as it goes. So now to replace the plug wires. There we go, we got her running. It's purring pretty good. Maybe she might be missing a cylinder or something in there, but she's running. I'm not hearing any rod noise, and we got engine pressure. I checked the gauges, so we're doing good there. We got a new fuel filter. So there she is after over 18 years. I think it's closer to 20. she's just running. You just can't kill these old inline 60s. They're just damn good motors. A lot of good low end torque on them. But God, I just love to hear that. Okay, well now to go put in a new gas tank. We got that done. Okay, so we got our new gas tank installed in the back. Sorry for not taking pictures of before and after, getting a video of it, but it was just myself trying to get that out, so really took all my hands to do it. But it's not overly difficult. Really, that tank is just held in by a series of bolts that came right out amazingly. I'm not sure that was the original gas tank that was in there, just because it had some weird primer in it. But anyway, just undid, gosh, at least 12, maybe even 16 bolts out of it. Got it out. Did have to get down and, of course, disconnect the fuel line from underneath, as well as the wire for the sending unit to the fuel gauge inside. That was a little bit tricky. The connector to the sending unit on the tank was, well, it wasn't coming off. So I ended up having to cut the wire, which is fine. I just put a new connector on there to connect the new sending unit that came with the tank I got from CJ Pony Parts. And then, of course, I had to take the filler neck out, got it all cleaned up. It was a pretty grimy, nasty mess, but it was all surface rust and stuff. So I got it all cleaned out, both inside and out. Got that reinstalled. So pretty happy with the way it turned out. Was able to do it by myself. It would have been nice to have a second person. My dad did come out finally after I got it basically in there and help with getting the right tools to me as I was underneath the car rehooking the fuel line up. And I did have to replace the rubber fuel line that goes from the sending unit to the metal fuel line that runs back up to the front of the car where the fuel pump is. That original rubber was just completely rotted out. But got that all done, and she's in the car. Okay, so kind of recap. We got her all started and running, as you can see here. Just checking the lights out. So we have our headlights are working. There's our tail lights working out there pretty well. Go ahead and check our turn signals to see if they're working. So we got that flipped on, and now you can see the hood indicators working. That was a special option in 67 to have those hood signal indicators. There's the left rear turn signal working. Yay, that's a good thing. And then we're going to go check the right turn signal. Good, the hood indicator's working. And the rear turn signal on the right side is working as well. So we have headlights, tail lights, turn signals. Can't really see it too well, but the instrument lights were in there working too. So yeah, we made some good progress today. We're not going to be able to get through everything I had hoped for. I'd hoped to get some help so we could get that thermostat installed and the new radiator hoses, but we didn't get to that, so we'll save that for another day. But hey, I'm excited. This old girl runs. Still have a lot to do. We want to mention the radiator coolant stuff. We also have the brakes wheels to do as well. Got to make sure she'll stop. At some point we got to check the transmission and see if she's going to work. And hopefully that thermostat will work out. Cooling issue I noticed. We were starting to get a little warm after she ran for about 10 minutes or so. So we'll get that fixed. Well, there you go, folks. That is the end of part 3 on the car. We hope to continue the series. I mean, ultimately, the goal is to get the car on the road, and I have a whole lot of plans for this car into the future. So if any of your parts stores out there, CJ Pony Parts, Mustangs Unlimited, Kentucky Mustangs, Advanced Auto, I don't care. If y'all want to help sponsor this, would be great. We certainly use the help. Like I said, I have a lot of big plans for this car to turn her into a nice weekend driver. So with that, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.